Good evening, I'm Farhana Sheikh and you're watching AWANI Tonight. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has reiterated calls to reject corruption, this time hitting out those who gave out cash handouts during elections. He added that labelling them as donations does not change the fact that it was just another form of corruption.
While he did not mention anyone, Anwar's comment came amid a statement by past President Tan Sri Abdul Hadi Awang that giving money to voters ahead of GE15 was considered by them as charity. PAS has come under fire recently after video clips surfaced allegedly showing its party leaders handing out cash. Following this revelation, Hadi said those pictured on the viral video were only regular people giving out charity and that they were not bribing them. Hadi was reported as saying that it was the public's right to give money, adding that the law stated that only candidates and their representatives could not give money during campaigning. Earlier this month, Terengganu UMNO has filed election petitions to nullify results of the 15th general election, alleging vote buying in 3 constituencies, Marang, Kuala Terengganu and Kemaman, all won by PAS.
Meanwhile, the government will review the existing national housing policy based on the Madani framework, which aims for a prosperous and balanced nation for all Malaysians. The local government development ministry said that it targets to provide 500,000 affordable houses by 2025. The ministry said in a statement on Monday that the new housing policy, supported by organised planning and cooperation by developers and housing agencies at federal and state levels, would be able to achieve the target. It said it would review existing initiatives, find new incentive opportunities, and facilitate procedures in the approval of housing development to allow active participation of housing developers to provide quality and affordable houses for all Malaysians. The ministry would also learn about housing policies in countries like Singapore, which is able to provide public housing for 80% of eligible citizens, regardless of race. Additionally, it would share with Singapore on knowledge to develop and manage affordable housing. The new national housing policy will take into account various needs of the people according to culture, customs, religions, and scenarios of the multiracial nation. The Malaysian property market will continue to face challenges as it moves towards recovery in 2023. What can property seekers expect for this year? Property gurus Sheldon Fernandez breaks down 4 key trends.
The first one is housing affordability, but particularly among millennials. So millennials are most likely to become the home seekers that will shape the market in the next 5 years. And one of the key concerns here is around the affordability and also the high reliance on government assistance to help them with home ownership. The second trend, obviously, we see is this heightened awareness around climate and environment concerns. So floods in particular that hit Malaysia in late 2021 and 2022, they caused significant damage to properties. And based on the same survey, 92% of our respondents specified floods as the main concern. So no surprise there. And this may lead to lower demand and drastic drop in prices for properties that are particularly in flood-prone districts. Now, maybe on the positive side is we've seen overhang improve, but still the numbers remain high. So the decrease by 7.5% in the second half of 2021. But, you know, like I said, the volume remains high, but is definitely a step in the right direction when it comes to overhang. Last but not least, with the opening of borders, we do see potential trend of foreign purchasers coming back into the purchase of properties in Malaysia, and the government themselves have introduced a new premium visa program that targets high net worth individuals that wants to invest in properties in Malaysia.
The government has announced a few measures to remedy some of the problems faced in the housing sector, including looking at abandoned or sick projects. Ahead of the retabling of the budget, Sheldon suggests more measures the government can explore to further assist the sector.
If I just take the recent announcement around a task force that will look at abandoned projects, that's very, very welcoming. because clearly with abandoned projects, what the impact of that has been the negative perception towards the property market. So I think if we can tackle that, it will boost confidence in terms of sentiment of potential home buyers. Clearly, this will also help with unsold units. So there's roughly around 30,000 unsold houses that was reported in the third quarter of this year. So hopefully this is part of the resolution towards this problem. The other interesting aspect was the government is also reviewing the national housing policy, and they want to promote sustainable and affordable housing. So clearly this is a step in the right direction with the right intention. And then obviously the next milestone is really the retabling of the budget. What we really hope to see is housing schemes with government subsidies, so that even the key stakeholders like a developer can reduce monthly repayments to home buyers. Therefore, really tackling the home affordability issue in the short term. The other big segment of the market is the secondary market. That obviously support the subsale properties. They should also be looked at, particularly our hope in terms of the expansion of the home ownership campaign, which really helped boost the property market in previous years. But if that's sort of extended to the secondary market, I think that will create demand and further encourage home ownership in Malaysia.
Sheldon also shares some tips to navigate the home buying process for first-time buyers.
With the wait-and-see approach, what we've seen when it comes to holding a decision to buy, we've seen rentals go up. So clearly, housing is a basic necessity. You will need to have a roof over your head. If you're not purchasing, you're definitely renting. And it's a question of whether or not you have responsible financing in order to go into the purchase decision for the property. So I think that's the first step, making sure that you are well prepared for the financial obligation. You have financial literacy in terms of your loan eligibility, your credit eligibility, and you've got tools to help you there. You've got professionals in the market to help you there, particularly real estate agents. So you can refer to these services and necessary tools in order to help you make that confident decision.
Malaysia condemns the act by an extremist Swedish-Danish far-right politician in burning a copy of the Holy Quran in Stockholm, Sweden last Saturday. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir called the act an outright attack against Islam and Muslims worldwide.
Dan kita juga melihat ianya sebagai satu tindakan yang sangat jijik kerana apa yang berlaku, masalah dalaman Sweden dengan sebuah negara yang lain yang tidak sewajarnya membawa agama menjadi faktor pertikaian antara negara. Dan ini jelas menunjukkan satu tindakan yang bersifat ganas, ekstrim dan barbarik, yang tidak dapat diterima oleh mana-mana manusia ataupun negara yang bertamadun, yang perlu menghormati dari segi kebebasan beragama.
Zamri urged the Swedish government to take immediate action against the perpetrators of this heinous crime and to undertake serious measures to combat Islamophobia in the country. Rasmus Paludan, leader of the Danish far-right party, was permitted to burn the Quran on Saturday outside the Turkish embassy in Stockholm. Meanwhile, opposition MPs too threw their support to the government to strongly condemn the burning of the Quran in Sweden. Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin called for Putrajaya to demand public objection by the Swedish ambassador to Malaysia, as well as demand immediate action against perpetrators to ensure similar incidents do not reoccur.
We will go for a quick break. Stay with us.
As a bank, it's what drives us to do right by you.
Kita kembali lagi dalam Yang Mana Satu Idaman You. Okey, kali ini you dah tak payah pilih dah. Nak internet pantas, wifi kencang dan berjimat untuk hiburan? Hanya RM164.99 sebulan. Anda dapat 5 dalam 1. Internet laju, 100 saluran Astro, aplikasi Astro Go, Disney Plus Hotstar dan HBO Go. Psst, harga asal RM184.99 tau. Tukarlah pack sekarang.
Perjalanan yang mereka akan lalui sangat mencabar, mengharungi badai dan hujan, dari benua ke benua. Namun, ada yang mendapat idea lain. Jika anda perlu terbang, terbanglah dengan lebih bijak.
Ayah, kita dah sampai ke belum?
Welcome back. A 72-year-old gunman who carried out a massacre at a dance club in Los Angeles that left 10 people dead and 10 wounded has killed himself. He shot himself as his vehicle was approached by the police about 12 hours after the shooting.
The suspect has been identified as Hu Can Tran, and the way that's spelled is H-U-U, middle name C-A-N, last name T-R-A-N. He is a 72-year-old male Asian. I can confirm that there are no outstanding suspects from the mass shooting incident that occurred in the city of Monterey Park.
The manhunt came after the gunman killed 10 people at a ballroom dance studio late on Saturday, amid Lunar New Year celebrations in the predominantly Asian American community of Monterey Park. Authorities said the gunman tried to carry out another shooting at a separate club just minutes after the first one, before he was stopped by bystanders who wrestled his weapon away, but he managed to flee. A van, the vehicle he died in, was later found in Torrance, another community home to many Asian Americans. The sheriff did not identify any of the victims but said the 5 men and 5 women appeared to be over the age of 50 or more. He said the pistol Tran use appeared to be illegal in California. The massacre was the 5th mass killing in the US this month. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida pledged to take urgent action against the country's declining birth rate. He said in a speech today that it was now or never and that the country could not delay the issue any further. Japan has in recent years been trying to encourage its people to have more children, with promises of cash bonuses and better benefits. But surveys put the country on top as the most expensive places in the world to raise a child. Births plunged to a new record low last year, dropping below 800,000 for the first time. This came 8 years earlier than the government expected. This resulted to a further population decline in a country where the median age is 49, highest in the world behind only the tiny city-state of Monaco. Kishida said he would submit plans to double the budget for child-related policies by June, and that a new Children and Families government agency to oversee the issue would be set up in April. Other countries are also coming to grips with aging and shrinking populations. Last week, China reported that its population dropped in 2022 for the first time in 60 years. People across China celebrated the start of the Lunar New Year with large family gatherings and visits to temples after most restrictions were lifted. Sunday's celebrations marked the biggest celebration since the COVID-19 pandemic started 3 years ago.
For the past 3 years, celebrations were muted in the shadow of the pandemic. With the easing of most COVID restrictions, many people made their first trip back to their hometowns to reunite with families. In Beijing, many offered morning prayers at the Lama Temple, but crowds appeared to be smaller compared with pre-pandemic days. At Touranting Park, there was no sign of usual bustling New Year food stalls, despite its walkways being decorated with traditional Chinese lanterns. While in Mexico City, residents were treated to a costume contest on Sunday as part of Lunar New Year celebrations. The last 2 years, the contest had been held online due to the pandemic, but this year, the contest was resumed in person. The contest gathered hundreds of spectators who enjoyed the costumes and celebrated in the Mexican capital at the beginning of the Year of the Rabbit. For decades after the establishment of North Korea in 1948, the Lunar New Year was not a holiday, but at least from the 1990s, it gets its own holiday. People still have to go through the routine of making a show of respect to the country's former leaders. The Korean traditions of greeting elder relatives and even gifts of money to younger generations still endure.
That is all the news we have for you. On behalf of AWANI Tonight, I'd like to wish a happy and prosperous Chinese New Year. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.